Hey guys, welcome back. It's Joseph. Quick and simple gospel. Yeshua, Jesus, came to this earth, lived a perfect 33 years, was crucified on a cross for our sins, buried in a tomb for 3 days, and rose from the grave on the third day. We are saved through faith in Christ alone and by no other name. Amen. So good morning guys, hope y'all are doing well. Got a huge video for you here. My goodness, where do we begin with this one? So, long story short, the Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59 over the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to show you how the Eagles' Super Bowl victory is all connected to the plane crashes that have been happening and also to Kobe Bryant. Alright, I'm going to show you how it all comes together. And of course, by losing, Mahomes does not get the three-peat, and right away that connects us to Kobe Bryant because he was the last professional athlete to three-peat. Okay, so the Eagles have preserved his record, and that's what it's all about. As we've been breaking down all these plane crashes over the last couple weeks, I showed you guys how it was all connected to the Super Bowl and Kobe Bryant, and wait till you guys see what I found. You're not going to believe it. And it's going to be a long show, a very long show, so I'm going to go ahead and get started as quick as I can. Let me say hi to the chat. Hey Mike, hey Travis, hey Truth Matters 222, hey Andrea, hey Sarah, hey Dragonfly, hey Leslie. Hope you guys are doing well. Guys, do me a favor. When you come in, please hit the like button. Very much appreciated. Helps out the algorithm and helps more people find the video. And also, please hit the share button. That way we can get this out to more people. So if you have a Facebook, please share this out immediately. And if you have a Twitter, please share this out immediately so we can get some people in here. Hey Michelle, hey Sandra, hey Sarah, hey Brian. Alright guys, we got some people in here. Let's go ahead and get started. And my goodness, so much to talk about. And I'm going to tell you right now, I did my best to put this in an order that makes sense, but you know, we might have to bounce around a little bit. Some things aren't in the perfect order, so just know that. But and also, we're not going to do a recap at the end today because it's just way too long of a show. So make sure you pay attention, and if you miss anything, if you come in late, make sure you go back later and watch the whole thing on fast forward. Okay, here we go. Alright guys, just give me 1 second to get all set up and we'll get started here. Alright guys, so the Philadelphia Eagles have won the Super Bowl. And like I just said, it's all connected to the plane crashes we've been having. And it's all connected to Kobe Bryant preserving that three-peat. Okay? Alright, I think that looks okay. Alright, we're going to start with a little bit of background to show you how we got to talking about plane crashes and the Eagles and Kobe Bryant. Let me show you how we got there. 1 second. We're almost good with the screen. There we go. Alright guys, so let me read this up at the top. Actually, let me give you my little speech first. Alright guys, we're going to break this down all by the numbers using gematria, which is simply letters as numerals. And once you learn the simple code of coding letters into numbers, you can see right through the scripted coded news every day. Hey Gene Splice, good to see ya. Hey Midwest Perspective. Hey Claudia, much love to everyone in the chat. Alright guys, here we go. So we started talking about the connection to Kobe Bryant and the Eagles and the plane crashes with the first plane crash. Okay, that was on January 29th, the first day of the snake year. You know, Kobe the Black Mamba, right? Excuse me. And I apologize if I'm going to cough a little bit during this live stream. I'm still dealing with a little bit of a cold, so sorry about the coughing. All right, guys, so the Eagles, before the Super Bowl, in the NFC Championship game, they picked up win number 666 all time on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death against Washington, leaving Washington on 666 wins all time also. And that was just days before a helicopter hit an American Eagle from Kansas, kind of like Kansas City, which is on the border with Kansas, right? An American Eagle hit a helicopter in Washington, all right, days after the Eagles picked up win number 666 all time against Washington, leaving Washington on 666 wins all time. Okay? And how does this connect to Kobe? Well, Kobe died in a helicopter. Helicopter equals 666. Kobe Bryant scored his career-high 81 points in game number 666. And remember, the Eagles, they picked up win 666 on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, who died in a helicopter, okay? Now, before the game was played, the Eagles posted a picture of a helicopter before that game against Washington. And by the way, Kobe Bryant was born in Philadelphia. So that's just a little background of the first plane crash with the helicopter, and here it is for you. We had an American Eagle from Kansas, kind of like Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, right? Remember, Kansas City is on the border with Kansas. And remember what happened just days after this. We had a plane crash in Philadelphia that was headed to Missouri. Kansas City is in Missouri. So what are the odds of that, guys? On the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, the 5-year anniversary as the Eagles advance to their 5th Super Bowl appearance, they pick up win number 666 over Washington, leaving Washington on 666 wins all time. And then days later, you have an American Eagle from Kansas hit a helicopter. Helicopter equals 666. The Eagles picked up win 666 over Washington on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, who died in a helicopter, who's from Philadelphia, who scored his career high in game number 666. And don't forget, Kobe Bryant had the 666 workout. And then you're telling me that the Eagles posted out a picture of a helicopter before the game was played with Washington? All right, so that's just a little bit of background on how we got to talk about Kobe Bryant, because all this stuff is obviously connected with Kobe, okay? That's mathematically impossible for you to pick up win 666 over a team to leave them with 666, and then days later in that town of Washington, you have a helicopter, which equals 666, hit an American Eagle. That game was played on Kobe Bryant's death anniversary, who died in a helicopter. They posted the helicopter. So, anyways, hopefully you get the point. I'm ready to move on. So, we pointed out that the Eagles, since we're talking about the number 666, right? The Eagles came into the Super Bowl with 666 wins all time. And, 666 is the number of the beast. I just want to show you something real quick. For the record, the head coach of the Eagles, Nicholas Sirianni, see how his name equals number of the beast in 2 ciphers? 174, 258, like number of the beast. And they came into the Super Bowl with the 666 wins all time, right? So there was a famous plane crash, all right? Since we're talking about 666 and plane crashes, there was a famous plane crash known as the Day the Music Died. That was the plane crash with Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. And it's known as the Day the Music Died. And that plane crash is what the song American Pie is all about. Okay? So long story short, guys, American Pie, about the plane crash the day the music died, it was performed for the first time on Pi Day, March 14th, 314. Where was it performed for the first time? In Philadelphia. Isn't that interesting? Philadelphia, right? Well, you know what's even more interesting? The Super Bowl, where the Eagles came into the game with 666 wins, the Super Bowl was 66 years and 6 days after that plane crash, known as the day the music died. All right? Now, there was also another plane crash that day, a big plane crash that killed 65 people. That was American Airlines Flight 320. On the same day, February 3rd, 1959, a plane crash that killed 65. Now, why does the 65 matter? Well, number one, Philadelphia equals 65, and they just won the Super Bowl in Caesars Superdome, which equals 65. So that's another little thing to mention. That other plane crash, right, which was 66 years and 6 days before the Super Bowl, where the Eagles came in with the 666 wins, that crash killed 65, like Philadelphia equals 65. All right? And again, American Pie, the song, which is about the plane crash the day the music died, that was first performed in Philadelphia. So we got the Super Bowl 66 years, 6 days after those big plane crashes on February 3rd, 1959. Now, the new Secretary of Transportation is Sean Duffy. He was born in October of 1971. That's when the song American Pie came out. It came out in October of 1971. Well, the new Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, when he was born exactly 660 weeks and 6 days after that plane crash, known as the day the music died. 660 weeks and 6 days, kind of like 666, right? Well, just after the plane crash in D.C. with the American Eagle from Kansas, we had a plane crash in Philadelphia, and that plane was headed for Missouri, where the Kansas City Chiefs play. But if you remember, and I'm sorry it's a little bit fuzzy here, but if you remember, that crash was at 6:06 p.m. in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia equals 6:06. And the new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, he's got the 6:06. And I know it's fuzzy up here, I'm sorry. But the plane crash in Philadelphia was 60 months and 6 days after Kobe Bryant died in a crash. And this happened in his hometown of Philadelphia. That was the plane crash where they said 6 people on the plane were killed and 6 people on the ground were hospitalized, and 6 houses were on fire and 6 cars were on fire. Then we had another plane crash in Alaska, which I'll talk more about later. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that plane crash that we just had in Alaska. That happened 6 years and 66 days after Mike Dunleavy became the governor of Alaska. So there's another plane crash connected to the 666 right before the Super Bowl. And there were more Super Bowl connections, as you're going to see later. But yeah, there's another 666 for you. That plane crash we just had in Alaska, that was 6 years, 66 days after the governor assumed office. Then we just had the Super Bowl in New Orleans, where the mayor is LaToya Cantrell. And the governor of Louisiana is Jeff Landry. Jeff Landry was born December 23rd, 1970. Cantrell was born April 3rd, 1972. So the governor of Louisiana was born 66 weeks and 6 days before the mayor of New Orleans was born. So even though the Eagles did not fall to 666 and 666, they still paid tribute to the number of the beast, clearly. All right? And again, they came into the game with 666 wins. And you have all the 666s to Kobe. And like I said, they protected the three-peat. So, anyways, there was still, tribute given to the number of the beast ritual, right? And there's still more examples to show you of that. Because one day before the Super Bowl was played, we had the death of NFL coach Richard Geron, a.k.a. Dick Geron. And interesting thing about that, it said the Bears confirmed his death, which came one day before Philadelphia, where Geron briefly served as an assistant to current Chiefs coach Andy Reid, was to play Kansas City in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So long story short, the coach that just died, Richard Geron, he coached in Philadelphia as an assistant to Andy Reid. And Andy Reid is now the coach of the Chiefs, who played Philadelphia. Right? So this guy died just one day before the Super Bowl. And what's crazy, his name, Richard Geron, equals 666, right? And it was the Bears who confirmed his death. He used to be the head coach of the Bears. Well, look how many losses the Bears have all time right now. The Bears are on 666 losses all time right now. Just like the Eagles came into the game with 666 wins. So that's very interesting. Just one day before the Super Bowl, right? Now, we're still not done with the 666 connections. I put out a short video on this last night. I had a feeling number 33 was going to be a factor. But anyways, if you watch the game, after they started the game by telling you about Andy Reid's 33-year NFL coaching career, we had a pick six by number 33, Cooper DeJean. And DeJean equals 33, like masonry equals 33. Like the highest degree of masonry, the 33rd degree. Well, what if I told you number 33 had a pick six on his birthday? Look at that, Cooper DeJean, born February 9th. What are the odds? I mean, it's pretty rare to get a pick six, right? Definitely pretty rare to get a pick six in the Super Bowl. What are the odds? Number 33, DeJean, which equals 33, gets the pick six on his birthday. And oh yeah, his name equals 666. How about that? Cooper DeJean with the biggest play of the game on his birthday, number 33, and his name equals 666. So, even though the Eagles did not fall to 666 and 666, they still paid tribute to the number of the beast. And remember, guys, I told you before the game in every single video, I said it could be a trap, it could be bait, it could be too obvious, don't bet, don't gamble. Every single video I told you, it could be a trap, could be bait. I had a hard time believing they were really going to let it happen. I think it would have been way too obvious. Too many people would have woken up also. Could you imagine if the Eagles ended up 666 and 666? It would have been way too obvious. Everybody would have been talking about it, and yeah, it was too obvious. So anyways, let me continue on. So here's where we get real crazy, all right? Here's where we get really, really crazy. So we started out this decode connecting it to the plane crash, right? The first plane crash that was in D.C. with the American Eagle from Kansas and the Black Hawk helicopter. Like Kobe died in a helicopter, right? Well, where do I start with this one? Long story short, guys, the Eagles won the game with 40 points on the 40th day of the year. And what if I told you DeJean, the guy with the pick six on his birthday, he was the 40th pick in the draft, right? And you know how I'm connecting this to the airplane crash, right? You see how airplane equals 40? And where was that first plane crash at? Was it at the Ronald Reagan Airport, the 40th president? Was that plane approaching runway 33? Hello. You see? You see how it all comes together? That plane crash, guys, with the American Eagle and the helicopter, okay, that was at the Reagan Airport. He's the 40th president. Airplane equals 40. I'm going to show you how this Super Bowl is connected to all the airplane crashes. So the first crash was at the Reagan Airport, the 40th president. Airplane equals 40. The Eagles score 40 on the 40th day of the year, and the big star of the game was the 40th pick in the draft. All right? Now, hold on. There's something. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you here. Like I said, my slides are kind of out of order. Okay? What I probably should have on the next slide, we just had a plane crash in Brazil. Why does that matter? 2 people were killed 2 days before the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles, they started the season in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's where the plane crash was. And Brazil equals 40. So I'll get to that later on. But first, more about the 33 here. Because Patrick Mahomes in the first half had 33 yards. So there's another 33. And he was also 6 of 14, which is Trump's birthday, with Trump in attendance, which I'm going to get to later on. But yeah, Mahomes had 33 yards in the first half. That's pretty rough, right? To go with the other 33 there. Well, at the very beginning of the game, I don't know if you caught it, but they mentioned Andy Reid and his 33-year NFL coaching career. See right there? Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid has many records to his name after a 33-year NFL coaching career. So we have that 33 going on. Now, like I said, masonry equals 33. The highest degree of masonry, the 33rd degree. Check out the black and white checkerboard 4, which represents Freemasonry, right before the game. By the way, Freemasonry equals 59, like Super Bowl 59. And wait till I show you the halftime show with the Masonic apron and all that. But yeah, we have the black and white checkerboard there. And remember, most of these plane incidents connected to the number 33. We had the one that was approaching runway 33 in DC, and Kobe equals 33, and Kobe wore the number 33 in high school. That Black Hawk helicopter that went down, that was 33 days from the anniversary of the premiere of Black Hawk Down, which was December 28th, 2001. So that Black Hawk went down 33 days from the anniversary. The word collide equals 33. It was also 33 weeks before Mahomes' birthday, who had the 33 yards in the first half. And then we had the plane crash in Philadelphia that was headed for Missouri, and then after it made a stop in Missouri, where the Chiefs play, it was going to end up in Mexico, right? Mexico 33. Then we had the tug. The plane and the tug collided. Tug 33, plane and tug 33, collide 33. Oh, by the way, runway equals 33, like runway 33. And then we had the plane incident in Houston on the 33rd day of the year, where the plane caught on fire on the runway, which equals 33. That plane was headed to New York, which equals 33, on a Sunday, which equals 33. And that was at the George Bush airport, 33 weeks from George Bush's birthday. And by the way, the Super Bowl was 33 days before the Pi Day eclipse. And remember, American Pie was performed for the first time on Pi Day. So we're going to talk more about that later. Now, back to the plane crash that started it all. I want to show you all the connections to the Eagles here. So, number one, that plane crash with the American Eagle and the Black Hawk helicopter, that was on January 29th, the day leaving 336 days left in the year. Notice Philadelphia Eagles equals 336. Then we had the crash in Philadelphia, right? The one that was headed to Missouri. Kobe's hometown of Philadelphia. Eagles express condolences to victims of Philadelphia plane crash. Notice crash is a perfect match to Eagles in 3 out of the 4, including the 22, which is how many points were scored against the Eagles, right? It was 22-40. So that's interesting. Crash has the 22 there. And then also, it's a little bit out of order, but let me just get to it. The crash in Brazil, we had this. Sao Paulo, Brazil, small plane crash kills 2. That was 2 days before the Super Bowl. And look, the Eagles opened their season in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we had all those plane crashes, right, that I connected to the Super Bowl. And then this was like huge confirmation. I mean, think about it, guys. Of all the places in the world to have a plane crash 2 days before the Super Bowl, it's in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where the Eagles opened up the season. All right? And we'll talk more about that later. So, Eagles equals crash. That helicopter collision with the plane, that was on January 29th, 2025. Including the end date, that was 1,831 days after Kobe died. And look at the name of the helicopter pilot. Andrew Eves, which equals 1831. And his last name, Eve, like Eve was tempted by the serpent. And remember, that plane collision was on the first day of the snake year. All right, Kobe, the Black Mamba, right? And guys, I know a lot of the stuff right now is just stuff I've already shared, but make sure you stick around to the end. I have so much new information to show you, it's going to blow your mind, okay? Including some very big information on the number 222. You'll see, it's going to absolutely blow your mind. So don't go anywhere today. Make sure you stick around for this whole show. Now, just to prove to you that that helicopter crash was connected to Kobe Bryant, look at this. That helicopter, that plane and helicopter crash, it was 159 days after Kobe's birthday. Helicopter equals 159. Plane and helicopter equals 159. Figure skaters equals 159. Remember, there were figure skaters on that plane. Black Hawk down. Remember we had a Black Hawk go down, right? That was the helicopter that hit the plane. It was a Black Hawk, right? Which reminds us of the movie, right? Black Hawk Down. So anyways, notice Black Hawk Down has that 223 like Philadelphia 223, right? Well, what happened in Philadelphia 223 days before the anniversary of 9/11? We had a plane crash in Kobe's hometown. And plane equals 223, Philadelphia 223, the synagogue of Satan 223, and it's the book of Revelation that mentions the angel of the church in Philadelphia and the synagogue of Satan. Right? That's the book of Revelation. Don't forget, Revelation equals 59, like Super Bowl 59. There's also a book called Black Hawk Down, A Story of Modern War. And that's a book by Mark Bowden. And it's based on a series of 29 articles written by journalist Mark Bowden for the Philadelphia Inquirer. 29, like all these plane crashes happen on, or they all started on the 29th day of the year. Potomac 29, the Snake 29, which we'll get into. But anyways, notice the publication date, February 10th. That's today, right? 1 day after the Super Bowl date. So you got the 1 day after the Super Bowl date, you got the 29, like it all started on the 29th day of the year, and you got Philadelphia, right? Well, guess what? There's a show that comes out today called Surviving Black Hawk Down. Look at that. Comes out today, 1 day after the Super Bowl, right? And look at the gematria. Surviving Black Hawk Down equals 325. Why does that matter? Because the Super Bowl was on February 9th, the day leaving 325 days left in the year. Isn't that interesting? The Black Hawk Down incident happened on October 3rd. Whose birthday is October 3rd? The new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. Now back to Kobe and the collision. The collision happened 60 months after Kobe died. And remember, there were 60 passengers on the plane and 4 crew, but 60 passengers, and it collided with a H-60 helicopter. Remember, Kobe scored 60 in his last game. The word collide equals 60, and figure skaters equals 60. Remember, there were figure skaters on the plane. And we had 3 people on the helicopter, which is fitting because that helicopter crash was 3 days after Kobe's death anniversary, who allegedly died in a helicopter. The helicopter and plane collision happened on the first day of the snake year. It was the 29th day of the year. The snake, 29. Potomac, 29. Remember, it crashed into the Potomac. And Kobe is the snake, right? He's the black mamba. And speaking of black mamba, you remember when Donald Trump cut the cake that had a plane on it with a military sword, and sword equals 29, like Trump 29, who was at the Super Bowl on 2/9? Well, look at Melania's dress behind that cake with a plane on it. Doesn't that look like a black snake? Kind of like a black mamba? So this is from the inauguration. Kind of like they were telling you, hey, on the first day of the snake year, look out for the plane incidents, right? Now, we also connected that first plane incident on January 29th to the movie Snakes on a Plane, because we had a plane crash on the first day of the snake year. So we said, okay, let's see how far it is from Snakes on a Plane. Well, it was 201 days before the movie anniversary Snakes on a Plane, and that's interesting because that plane was approaching runway 33, which equals 201. Like that old serpent 201, another name for the devil, which is mentioned in Revelation 12:9, kind of like 129, like the date it happened, January 29th, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil. We just left the dragon year, now we're in the year of the serpent. That old serpent, 201, runway 33, 201, 201 days before the movie anniversary Snakes on a Plane. Now don't forget the pandemic simulation called Event 201. Remember, Kobe Bryant died the first week of coronavirus in the U.S., buried in Corona del Mar. He's got the crown tattoo, which we'll get into later. But yeah, 201, big number. Event 201, main sponsor, William Henry Gates, 201. The full name of the Jesuit Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201, lives in Suite 201 at the Domus Sancti Marte, which equals 201. Catholic Pope equals 201. The Guidestones went down 201 days from the Pope's birthday. Built under the alias R.C. Christian, which is a perfect match to Pope Francis in 3 out of the 4. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201. That's the founder of the Jesuit Order. The Jesuit Order equals 201. They just had a pandemic simulation called Preparing for Disease X. That was held 201 weeks after COVID declared a pandemic and 201 days from Obama's birthday. Event 201 held on 10/18, like Luke 10/18, which connects to Obama. I beheld Satan as lightning. Barack means lightning. Obama the heights. The son of perdition, Barack Hussein Obama equals 201. The list goes on, but here's the crazy thing. Who's the star of the movie Snakes on a Plane? Is it Samuel L. Jackson? Did I connect these plane crashes to Samuel L. Jackson 9 days ago? I sure did, because here's a screenshot of my video that says, plane and helicopter collide. Here's everything you need to know 9 days ago, and here's my computer that you're looking at now. And I said Samuel L. Jackson was 222, like the name of the flight. 5342 was 222. And look who popped up at the Super Bowl. showing off the old 666 hand sign. You're telling me after I've already connected this to Samuel L. Jackson, he just pops up at the Super Bowl as Uncle Sam? Whoa, Uncle Sam, Uncle Samuel L. Jackson, right? So that's pretty crazy, right? What a confirmation that was. Now, get ready for one of the biggest confirmations you're ever going to see. Now, before we get there, I got to give you a little background. Because, like I said, most of these plane rituals were connected to the number 222, including the crash in Philadelphia. Now, let me take a sip of water. One sec. The crash in Philadelphia was 222 days before the mayor's birthday and 222 days after the Mexican president's birthday. And that matters because everyone on that plane was allegedly from Mexico, including the little girl who was staying at Shriners Hospital, which equals 222. Wait till you see the new confirmation, guys. You're not going to believe it. I couldn't believe it. We had the plane crash in the Philippines, and that plane crash was 2 years, 222 days after their president assumed office. Or you could say it was 222 days from, the anniversary of him assuming office. And notice Philippines plane crash has that 222, like the year he assumed office, 2022. Then we had the plane collision in Seattle. We had a Japan Airlines collide with a Delta Airlines, right? Now remember, Seattle, Washington is the sister city to Kobe, Japan. Okay? And we have Japan Airlines. Now here's the other thing with Seattle. The first U.S. case of COVID was in Seattle just 5 days before Kobe Bryant died. The first U.S. case was in Seattle on January 21st, 2020. It was 222 days from Trump's birthday, the father of the vaccine. Trump equals 222. Wuhan coronavirus equals 222. Kobe died 22 weeks and 2 days from his birthday. I'll show you that. Guys, coronavirus was declared a pandemic 222 months after 9/11. Okay? So anyways, this is in Seattle, right, where we had the first U.S. case of COVID 222 days from Trump's birthday, right before Kobe died. And plane collision was 222, Japan Airlines 222, Delta Airlines 222, like order out of chaos, 222. Then on February 2nd, which equals 222, including the end date, we had a plane in Houston catch on fire 222 days from the anniversary of 9/11. That was a United Airlines flight, which equals 222, and it was headed for New York, New York, which equals 222 on February 2nd, which equals 222. Then we had a plane collide with an aircraft tug in Obama's old stomping grounds of Chicago, where Obama was the senator, right? And long story short, not including the end date, that happened on February 1st, 222 days from the anniversary of 9/11. It happened at O'Hare, which equals 222. O'Hare is named after Edward O'Hare, whose birthday is 222 days from Obama's birthday. The Antichrist, Barack Obama, equals 222, the beast of Revelation 222, the word beast is 222, Antichrist system 222. In the year 2022, Obama tested positive for COVID 222 days from his birthday. And remember, that plane incident in Chicago was 181 days after Obama's birthday. Well, that's perfect, because Obama's full name, Barack Hussein Obama II, is 181, and Barack Obama is 181. And do you remember the zip code of that airport? The zip code of that airport was 60666. How about that? to go with all the other 666 connections to the plane incidents. We had another plane incident at O'Hare Airport. Zip code 60666. And that incident injured a 64-year-old. Like there were 64 people on that airplane in D.C. Like Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. The Antichrist equals 64. Then just a couple months ago, back on Christmas Day, 2024, we had another plane crash connected to Obama in the 222. That was when the plane crashed in Kazakhstan 222 days from the president of Kazakhstan's birthday and 222 days before Obama's birthday. And Azerbaijan Airlines plane equals 222. And I told you back at the beginning, right, there was a song called American Pie, which is about a plane crash. And that song was performed for the first time on Pi Day, 3/14, in Philadelphia. And the song about the plane crash was performed for the first time 222 days from Obama's birthday. And we have a big watch date coming up. We'll see if anything interesting happens on this day. The Blood Moon Pi Day eclipse coming up on Pi Day, 222 days from Obama's birthday. Then there was a movie called American Pie, which came out 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days before 9/11. And it also came out 22 weeks and 2 days from the anniversary of the plane crash, known as the day the music died. Almost there to the the new stuff. I'm building the case. So we had the first U.S. case of COVID in Seattle, Washington. That was January 21st. That was 222 days after Trump's birthday. And then Trump just rolled out the Stargate project, which is also connected to vaccines, on the anniversary of the first U.S. case, 222 days after his birthday. COVID declared a pandemic March 11th, 2020, exactly 222 months after 9/11. Check out some of the gematria: Wuhan coronavirus 222, World Economic Forum 222, Antichrist system event 201, mandatory vaccination, COVID vaccines, they're all 222. Trump, the father of the vaccine, just won the election 222 days before his birthday, when Trump equals 222. Trump organization equals 222. Remember the 222-page lawsuit against the Trump organization where Trump took the stand 222 days from his birthday? Remember when Trump's sister died 222 days from her birthday? Ivana equals 222, Trump equals 222, and Ivana Trump died 222 days from her birthday. Is it all a coincidence? And then again, Obama tested positive for COVID 222 days after his birthday. And guys, when you come in, please hit that like button. Very much appreciated. Now, the Eagles, who just beat the Chiefs, I want to show you how the Chiefs and their first Super Bowl victory, which was the first Super Bowl during the time of COVID and the first Super Bowl after Kobe Bryant's death, how it was very connected to the number 222. Because it was February 2nd, 2020, 2222, when Andy Reid picked up win number 222 all time, the same day that he got his first Super Bowl victory. The first Super Bowl during the time of COVID, the first Super Bowl after Kobe Bryant died. And that was on February 2nd, which equals 222. It was on February 2nd, 2020, which equals 2220. And halftime was J-Lo. J-Lo equals 222. And the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl 222 weeks after the Kansas City Royals won the World Series. Royal, like a crown. Like Corona means crown. Also, we had Tom Brady calling the game last night. And, you know, Patrick Mahomes he lost Super Bowl 55, which was during the time of COVID, right? He lost that Super Bowl 222 days before his birthday. That was the Buccaneers Super Bowl in their home stadium. Buccaneers Super Bowl equals 222. That was the year Brady picked up win number 222 as a Buccaneer. And anyways, also Patrick Mahomes is tied with Dan Marino for the most touchdowns under the age of 29. The number's 222, right? So just want to show you the few connections here. That same year that Mahomes lost to Brady 222 days from his birthday, that was the year Brady picked up win number 222 as a Buccaneer in his first year with the Bucs. And then Brady, remember, he came out of retirement 222 days from his birthday. So the big numbers with Brady while he was with the Bucs was the 222 and the 201. And remember, that's the two big numbers with COVID, the 222 and the 201, right? And what do I mean? In that Super Bowl against Mahomes, Tom Brady threw for 201 yards. And then the Buccaneers went to the White House on the 201st day of the year, if you remember. Now, back to Kobe. Because remember, this is all about Kobe, and Kobe's crash kicked off coronavirus. And that's what I think all these crashes are pointing toward. Something bigger than coronavirus is coming, okay? So Kobe died 22 weeks and 2 days after his birthday. There's your 222. He had a tattoo of a crown. Corona means crown. He was buried in Corona del Mar. And then remember, COVID declared a pandemic 222 months after 9/11. We just had the incident in Seattle, which is the sister city to Kobe, Japan. We had the Japan Airlines, and remember the first U.S. case of COVID was in Seattle 222 days from Trump's birthday. Wuhan coronavirus 222, right? Well, just to prove to you that the 222 is connected to Kobe Bryant, we had this sick ritual. UFC fighter Francis Ngannou, he confirmed the death of his infant son Kobe, who is named after Kobe Bryant. Well, little Kobe died on April 27th, 2024. That was exactly 222 weeks and 0 days after Kobe Bryant died. And look at the name of the father, Francis Ngannou, equals 222. Hey Mom, good to see you. Now, here's where we get really crazy. Somebody on Twitter shared this with me, and I couldn't believe it. Guys, you know I've been connecting all these plane rituals and the Eagles to the number 222, right? You ready for this? Guys, if you take the total score of every playoff game that the Eagles just played and you add it up, it equals 222. And I'm not kidding. Guys, the wild card game was 10-22. That makes 32 total points. The divisional round was 22-28. That makes 50 points. The conference championship was 23-55. That makes 78 points. And the Super Bowl was 22-40. That makes 62 points. Look at that, guys. Have I not been connecting all these playing rituals and the Eagles to the number 222? If you add up the total scores of each of their 4 playoff games, 1, 2, 3, 4, it adds up to 222. 32 plus 50 plus 78 plus 62 is 222. Now, this might be the best slide of the whole decode. And this was also sent to me by somebody on Twitter, and I'm so sorry I can't remember your names at the moment. I'm horrible. But anyways, guys, what this guy found was the missing piece. Okay? I wish I had this the whole time I was doing all my decodes, but better late than never. Guys, you know I've been connecting every single one of those plane incidents to the number 222 in the Super Bowl, right? You guys aren't even going to believe what I'm about to tell you. Guys, did you know there was a major plane crash in New Orleans on July 9th, 1982? And let me just read it for you. Pan Am Flight 759 was a regularly scheduled domestic passenger flight from Miami to San Diego with route stops in New Orleans and Las Vegas. On July 9th, 1982, the Boeing 727 flying this route crashed in the New Orleans suburb of Kenner after being forced down by a microburst shortly after takeoff. All 145 on board, as well as 8 people on the ground, were killed. Guys, I've been connecting all these plane rituals to the Super Bowl and the number 222. Guys, the Super Bowl was 2,222 weeks and 2 days after that plane crash in New Orleans. There it is. There it is. There it is. Guys, everybody has to hit the like and the share now, because that is the missing piece right there. Guys, if I would have known that there was a major plane crash in New Orleans 2,222 weeks and 2 days before the Super Bowl in New Orleans, I mean, wow. And guess what else? That plane crash was also 22 weeks and 2 days from the anniversary of the plane crash known as the day the music died. And notice the plane crash was on July 9th. That's when the movie American Pie came out. Remember? 2 years, 2 months, 2 days before 9/11. I mean, can you believe it? Cody, I see you're in here. Much love, Cody. Cody, did you see the slide before this? If you add up the total scores of the Eagles' 4 playoff games, 32, 50, 78, and 62, it equals 222. Yep, we already talked about Samuel L. Jackson equaling 222 and his connection to Snakes on a Plane. But how about these 2 slides right here? I mean, this should blow your mind. The total scores of all their 4 playoff games equals 222, and they win the Super Bowl in New Orleans 2,222 weeks and 2 days after a major plane crash in New Orleans. How crazy is that, man? Absolutely unreal. All right, moving on. And I pray to God they leave this video up. I really hope so. So, this leads me to my next point. You remember where the Philadelphia Eagles started the season? Here, let me pull it back up for you. Remember they started their season in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where we just had the plane crash, right? Well, the Super Bowl was 22 weeks and 2 days after the game in Brazil that the Eagles started the season. They won the Super Bowl 22 weeks and 2 days after starting the season in Brazil, and we just had the plane crash in Brazil that killed 2 days before the Super Bowl. And look, this is the Philadelphia Eagles website. Look what they posted to promote that game. This is before the game in Brazil was even played. From the Philadelphia Eagles website, it says, Eagles will open the 2024 season in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers. And look at the image they used. An airplane window. Wow. Brazil, 32. Big number with both teams. Kansas City, 32. Chiefs, 32. Eagles, 32. Crash, 32. We're going to talk more about the 32 later. Now back to the 40. All right, remember, airplane equaled 40. The guy who got the pick 6, he was the 40th pick in the draft. The first plane crash at the Reagan Airport, he was the 40th president, right? So what are the odds that the Eagles started the season in Brazil, which equals 40, and then they win the Super Bowl on the 40th day of the year by scoring 40 points? And that's what I was just saying. Airplane equals 40. You had the guy with the pick 6, the 40th pick in the draft. You had the crash at the Reagan Airport, the 40th president. Now here's the other 40. So after the game, the Chiefs' record for the season is now 17-3. 173 is the 40th prime number, right? And here's what I showed. Some of these are duplicates. So this is what I talked about earlier. They got the 40 points on the 40th day of the year. The 40th pick in the draft had a pick 6 on his birthday. Number 33, like runway 33, which was at that Reagan Airport. That plane crash was approaching runway 33. And that was at the Reagan Airport, who's the 40th president. Okay? So 40th president, airplane 40, Brazil 40, 40 points on the 40th day of the year, and the 40th pick in the draft had the pick 6, right? All right. So that game in Brazil, it's so much information to try to, share it correctly, but I'm trying. That game in Brazil, that was the first game to open the season, right? And that quarterback matchup was Love Hurts. For the Packers, you had Jordan Love. For the Eagles, you had Jalen Hurts. It was Love Hurts. Like the song by Nazareth, right? Love Hurts. And what's crazy, the same day as the plane crash in Brazil, February 7th, a movie came out called Love Hurts. Isn't that interesting? And did you know in that game in Brazil, the quarterback Love got hurt? Now, I think it's on the next slide. But after the game, did you notice they showed a Love Hurts commercial? And also, I don't think I included the slide, but this happened on February 7th. That's the day that Kobe Bryant was buried. Here, let me see if I can look it up real quick. When was Kobe buried? See, February 7th. So, there's another crash connected to Kobe, right? But anyways, first game in Brazil was Love Hurts, and the plane crash was on February 7th. A movie came out that day called Love Hurts, all right? Yeah, here it is. Jordan Brand honors Jalen Hurts with Love Hurts commercial immediately after the Super Bowl. I couldn't believe it because I've been talking about Love Hurts all week, right? And look at that. Love Hurts equals Super Bowl in 2 ciphers. How perfect. And it was the Jordan Brand who did the Love Hurts commercial. Notice Jordan Brand has the 101 like Philadelphia. 101. All right, so we might have a few 41s here. They're probably out of order. But anyways, notice how Love Hurts is 41, like Super Bowl 41. Remember we had the reporter who was killed covering the game. Adon Manzano had that 41. Now back to the plane crash in Philadelphia. That happened on the anniversary. Or not. See, I'm losing track. Back to the plane crash that happened in Brazil, which happened on the anniversary of Kobe being buried. That was in Barra Funda. Barra Funda has the 41 like Super Bowl 41. Here's the other part. Let me pull it up for you. So Kobe Bryant equals 41. And Kobe died at the age of 41. And there's a lot more to say about that, but first let me show you how Kobe Bryant equals 41 in that same cipher. See how Kobe Bryant equals 41? Let me type in Kobe's age of death. Kobe age of death. 41, okay? So 41 is the big number with Kobe, all right? So we have this plane crash in Brazil on the anniversary of Kobe being buried. And don't forget, Kobe Bryant's a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, from Philly, obviously. But anyway, Barra Funda 41, Super Bowl 41, Kobe Bryant equals 41. Kobe dead at the age of 41, right? And you know what? Since we're here on the 41s, let me just give you a few more 41s. When Kobe scored his career-high 81 points in Game 666, the rest of the team scored 41. In Kobe's last game, when he scored 60, the rest of the team scored 41. In Kobe's last game ever, his last shot was over a player wearing the number 41 jersey, and Kobe came off the court for the last time with 4.1 seconds left on the clock. And then there's a film called The Black Mamba where Kobe stars with Kanye West, and he throws a basketball time bomb at Kanye's helicopter. And the last time you see the basketball time bomb, it's at 4.1 seconds. Anyways, Barafunda, 41 like Super Bowl like Kobe Bryant. Then we had the incident in Alaska with the Bering airplane. Bering airplane was 131 like Super Bowl 131. The incident at the Reagan National Airport. Reagan National Airport was 131 like Super Bowl 131. We had the plane that caught on fire in Houston at the George Bush Airport. That incident was 131 days from George Bush's birthday, which is 131. Then on 131, January 31st, we had a plane crash in Philadelphia, Kobe Bryant's hometown. Now, if you think I'm crazy, explain to me why all this lines up so perfectly. Because this is the pilot from the airplane crash in Philadelphia on 131. Check it out. Look at his name. Alan Montoya, 131. That crash happened on 131. Like Super Bowl 131. That crash was at the Roosevelt Mall. Roosevelt, 131. And don't forget, Roosevelt is a perfect match to Super Bowl, which I'm going to show you. Check out his last name, Montoya, which equals crash in 2 ciphers. And Alan Montoya equals Kobe Bryant in 2 ciphers, 41 and 58. I mean, how? That's mathematically impossible, just so you know. Because I told you guys before this crash even happened, I told you the first crash was connected to Kobe Bryant. Right? And the Super Bowl. And then we get an airplane crash in Philadelphia that was headed to Missouri, where the Chiefs play, on 131. The pilot's name equals Kobe Bryant. The pilot's name equals Super Bowl. The pilot's last name equals crash. How is all that even possible? But anyways, let me move on. The pilot's name equals Kobe Bryant and Roosevelt and Super Bowl. Well, like I just said, look. It says small plane crashes near Roosevelt Mall in Philadelphia. Multiple casualties reported. Look at that. Roosevelt. Lamar mentioned Kobe in his halftime performance. Yeah, he did. Yep, he did. I forgot to even mention that. So much to keep track of. Now, don't forget what happened the night we were live with the Philadelphia plane crash. You can go back and watch that 5-hour live stream if you want. Remember after CNN was like talking about the plane crash, right? They went to commercial, and the first thing they did was show a Kobe Bryant commercial. Remember? Then remember earlier in that same stream we were watching Fox News, and they compared it to the Kobe Bryant crash? But yeah, Kendrick Lamar did mention Kobe. Yep. Yeah, he mentioned his 81-point game in game number 666. Why the 81 points, you ask? Because Mark of the Beast equals 81. Kobe Bean Bryant equals 81 in the same cipher. That's why he scored 81 in game 666. Because Mark of the Beast is 81. Then he died in a helicopter, which equals 666. So, Roosevelt, perfect match to Super Bowl. Now, here's another 131 for you, because we're connecting this to the song American Pie, which was written by Don McLean. Don McLean's birthday is October 2nd, which means the Super Bowl was 131 days from his birthday. And remember, the day the music died, that plane crash inspired the song American Pie, which was performed for the first time in Philadelphia, and the Super Bowl was 66 years, 6 days after the plane crash, the day the music died, as the Eagles came into the game with 666 wins. But anyways, Don McLean, he wrote American Pie, his birthday October 2nd, so the Super Bowl was 131 days from his birthday. Like Super Bowl 131, like the name of the pilot in Philly, which was on 131, that crashed into Roosevelt on 131, right? So there's all that. Now, back to the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. Remember, he was born in October 71 when the song American Pie was released. But American Pie was recorded on May 26, 1971, which was 131 days from the birthday of Sean Duffy, like Super Bowl 131. So we got the American Pie Super Bowl connection with Duffy, and we got the American Pie Super Bowl connection with Don McLean, who wrote the song. Now, what if I told you that Sean Duffy was born 243 days from the anniversary of that plane crash known as the day the music died, which inspired the song American Pie, and American Pie equals 243. Isn't that interesting? American Pie equals 243, and Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, was born 243 days after the anniversary of that crash. Then we had the president of South Korea. He sang American Pie to Joe Biden at the White House State Dinner, and he sang American Pie on April 26, which was 43 days from the anniversary of Pie Day, where American Pie was performed for the first time. Anyways, notice plane crash equals 43, like South Korea 43. Well, that's funny, because we had a plane crash in South Korea 43 days before the Super Bowl. How about that? And speaking of 43 and plane crashes, the plane crash that crashed into the Potomac on the first day of the snake year, that was 43 days after the Pope's birthday. When plane crash is 43, Kansas 43, that plane was coming from Kansas. The snake equals 43. It was on the first day of the snake year. And what happened 43 years ago? There was another plane that crashed into the Potomac, and that plane was headed for Florida, which equals 43. Like Masonic 43, and Freemasons 43, and Killing 43, and Lucifer 43. Now back to Yoon, who sang American Pie. If we go forward in time, 666 days after he sang American Pie, we land on an interesting date, February 20th of this month. February 20th, which is the day leaving 314 days left in the year, which is Pi, 314, right? So that's another day to look out for, February 20th. And also Pi Day itself, which is March 14th. But anyways, if you go forward 666 days, you land on February 20th, the day leaving 314 left in the year, which is Pi. But you also land on 220, which is the gematria of Don McLean III. 220, who wrote American Pie. So the election, Trump's first election, was on November 8th, 2016. But the election was called for Trump officially on November 9th, 2016. It says, early on November 9th, 2016, the day after the election, Trump was projected to have won Wisconsin, a flip from the previous presidential election, thereby receiving enough electoral votes to secure the presidency, becoming the president-elect of the United States. All right? So it became official on November 9th, 2016, which was a leap year. That was the 314th day of the year, 314, right? And it was also the night that it was called official, the election. It was 3,014 weeks after the plane crash, known as the day the music died. And also, Trump was at the Super Bowl exactly 3,014 days after the election was called for him on November 9th, 2016. So that's a very interesting alignment. That day was the 314th day of the year, 314. It was also 3,014 weeks after the day the music died, and Trump was at the Super Bowl, which we're connecting to the day the music died. He was there 3,014 days after the election was called for him. So definitely something to look out for. And by the way, you know how I just connected this to the 220? Donald John Trump is also 220. And remember, 220 is that day leaving 314 left. So we'll see. Now also, shout out to Decoding with Cody for the Pi connections here. But the Super Bowl performer, Kendrick Lamar, he was born June 17th, 1987. He was born 3,014 days before Patrick Mahomes was born. And the birthday of Kendrick Lamar, which is June 17th, his birthday is 314 days from Jalen Hurts' birthday, the guy who just won the Super Bowl. So both of these quarterbacks were connected to the halftime performer with the Pi connection, which is very interesting. Now, since we're still talking about American Pie, I wanted to mention that Obama was born 183 days after the anniversary of that plane crash that led to the song, and Obama was also born 183 days before the anniversary of that plane crash. Okay, 183, like the day the music died, 183. That's the plane crash I'm talking about. Notice the Philadelphia Eagles is 183, and the Eagles are now 18-3 on the season. And that Black Hawk helicopter crash was 1,830 days after Kobe died. 1830, drop the 0, right? You got the 183 like Black Hawk helicopter. All right? Now remember, if you include the end date, you got the 1831, and that was the name of the helicopter pilot, Andrew Eves, 1831. All right? Now, since we're talking about Kobe and Obama, I wanted to remind you that Kobe Bryant died 192 days before Obama's birthday. Why does that matter? Because Obama equals 192, and Obama's movie is called Leave the World Behind, which equals 192, which ends in the Commodus bunker. Commodus dead in the year 192, like Great Tribulation 192, and we've had so many 192s. Just a few examples. Trump just had his second inauguration 192 months after the inauguration of Obama. Leave the World Behind has the theme of Friends, right? There's rumors that Obama's dating Jennifer Aniston from Friends, and Jennifer Aniston was born 192 days from Obama's birthday. Obama was represented in the J. Christ video, where Little Nas X is wearing the Satan shoes. Anyways, he stayed at 19.2 million subs for months after Obama was in that video. Anyways, you guys know that 192. Huge number with Obama. Obviously, Obama equals 192. Just wanted to remind you that Kobe Bryant died 192 days from Obama's birthday. Now back to American Pie. Okay, the song American Pie was performed for the first time March 14th, 1971. And we have a blood moon eclipse, big watch date coming up, March 14th, 2025. So the Pi Day eclipse is going to be 648 months and 0 days after Don McLean III performed American Pie for the first time in Philadelphia. So the Pi Day eclipse coming up is 648 months after Don McLean III first performed that song. Notice the gematria of Don McLean III. It equals 648. So we're definitely looking out for March 14th. And this is just a reminder, I shared this earlier, the song American Pie, it was performed for the first time 222 days from Obama's birthday, and you have the Pi Day eclipse coming up 222 days from Obama's birthday, the Antichrist Barack Obama 222. Now look at this. Pi Day eclipse equals 666. And that's what's coming up on 3/14. More connections. Donald McLean has the 226 like airplane crash 226. Donald McLean III is 125 like airplane crash 125. And Don McLean's birthday is 125 days from the plane crash, known as the day the music died. See, the day the music died was February 3rd, 1959, and Donald McLean III was born October 2nd, so his birthday, 125 days from the day the music died. That plane crash happened 125 days after his birthday, so how fitting that he would be the one singing the song about that airplane crash, right? When airplane crash is 125, his name is 125, and his birthday is 125 days from that plane crash. Okay, that's part 1. Let me come over to part 2. All right, just to remind you, this is what we're talking about. Let me read this again for the refresher. The Eagles, before they played in the Super Bowl, they came into the Super Bowl with 666 wins all time. The Eagles picked up wins 666 all time on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death against Washington. They left Washington on 666 wins all time. That happened days before a helicopter hit an American Eagle from Kansas in Washington. And Kobe died in a helicopter. And helicopter equals 666. And Kobe scored his career high in game 666. And before the game with Washington was played, the Eagles posted a picture of a helicopter. And by the way, Kobe was born in Philadelphia. So just to refresh your memory, since we're over an hour into this. Now, back to the plane crash that happened on January 29th. That was 173 days after Trump's plane had mechanical issues. 173 days later, which is interesting because plane crash equals 173. The Eagles came into the Super Bowl with the record 17-3, and Kansas City finishes the season 17-3. Remember, the Eagles played one more game than Kansas City because Kansas City got the bye week. So we had that connection there. And see how the Chiefs record? The Eagles came in to the Super Bowl with the 17-3, right? Like plane crash. And now the Chiefs are left on 17-3. Like plane crash. And 173 is the 40th prime number. Like they scored 40 on the 40th day of the year when airplane equals 40. And the Brazil equals 40. That's where they started the season, had the plane crash in Brazil. You had player number 33 with the pick 6 on his birthday. He was the 40th pick in the draft. And then back to the crash that happened in Washington. That was at the Reagan Airport, the 40th president, right? So more connections to Trump, who was at the Super Bowl. I want to show you how he connects to the plane crash in Washington. That was at the Reagan National Airport, which equals 229. That crash was 229 days after Trump's birthday. That crash was 137 days before Trump's birthday. And Washington, D.C. equals 137, which is the 33rd prime number, like runway 33. That plane was coming from Wichita, Kansas, which is 138 and 48, like Donald Trump. 138 and 48. Plane and helicopter, 159. Helicopter, 159. Figure skaters, 159. Donald Trump, 159. Remember, it was also 159 days from Kobe Bryant's birthday when that happened, who died in a helicopter. And there it is for you right there. 159 days after Kobe's birthday. Now, speaking of Kobe and Donald Trump, who was at the game that was totally connected to Kobe, I thought it was pretty interesting that the game was 6 months and 14 days from Kobe's birthday. And what's 6/14? That's Donald Trump's birthday. And in the first half, remember Mahomes was 6 of 14 for 33 yards? And also, the Super Bowl was 60 months and 14 days after Kobe died. And remember, the zeros don't count, so there's another 6/14. And the Super Bowl was also 195 days before Kobe's birthday, which is interesting because Trump was shot allegedly in Butler on the 195th day of the year, and Trump shooting equals 195. Like Corey Comparator 195, who was in the crowd that day on the 195th day of the year. And remember, Mahomes started in the first half 6 of 14, which is Trump's birthday, with Trump in attendance, right? Now, also with Trump in attendance, Patrick Mahomes lost, just like Donald Trump is about to lose his life, I do believe, in a staged attempt. But anyways, with Trump in attendance, Mahomes loses 220 days before his birthday, like Donald John Trump is 220. And let me show you something else here. The Super Bowl was played in Caesars Superdome. And what's interesting about that? Well, what's the cause of death for Julius Caesar? It would be assassination. And Donald Trump was at the Super Bowl, right? We've been talking about the soon assassination of Trump for a long time. Now, I've seen some people, they said that Trump was hit in the ear on his birthday, but they kind of list two birthdays. See how it says Julius Caesar was born in Rome on July 12th or July 13th? So it's not very clear, so I'm not even making this a big deal. But anyways, yeah, July 13th is when Trump was allegedly hit in the ear in Butler, right? So that's interesting. He's got two birthdays, I guess. They can't figure it out. July 12th or July 13th, and that was the day that Trump had the ear event in Butler. And either way, this is my key point. I don't really care about the birthday of Julius Caesar. This is all you need. You had Trump as the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It just happens to be Caesars Superdome, named after Julius Caesar, right? And there you go. Well, technically, I think Caesars Superdome is like named after Little Caesars, which is obviously connected to Julius Caesar. Let's see if I could spell Caesars Superdome. It's really not even, I don't even know why I'm wasting time doing this. I don't even know what I'm doing. Let me get back to the decode. We all know Caesar, right? Obviously. Caesar Superdome, right? Spelled the same way. You know, you've seen the commercials with... Here, let me pull up Caesar's pizza. Yeah, see how they got the little guy there? So, Little Caesar. It's all connected to Julius Caesar. All right, I'm wasting too much time on that point. All right, let me get down to business here. Also, that plane crash, there were figure skaters, which equals 60. The word collide, 60. There were 60 passengers, 4 crew, but 60 passengers. It was a H-60 helicopter, right? So Donald Trump 60, Figure Skater 60, Collide 60. So check this out. You got Uncle Sam, Samuel L. Jackson, doing Trump's favorite hand sign, right? The 666. And check it out. First off, notice how Uncle Sam is 88, like Trump is 88. And then look how they write the teams here. KCPHI. Look, when you do KCPHI, it's got the same four numbers as Trump, and Trump was in attendance. How crazy is that? Look, KCPHI 47, like Trump 47. Does Caesar equal 47? I forget. I thought I heard someone say that before. Hold on. Yes, it does. Very good. So there's another connection with Trump and Caesar. Caesar has the 47, right? Like Trump 47. Like KC PHI 47. Like Uncle Sam 47. Like Trump is number 47, right? So yes, Caesar does equal 47. But then notice not just the 47. KCPHI has the 29 like Trump, the 88 like Trump, and the 25 like Trump. And then look at Uncle Sam. It's got the 88 like Trump, the 25 like Trump, and the 47 like Trump. So I just wanted to point that out. Is that in the base ciphers, Cody? That 40 connection you just put in the chat? Because I'll include that if it's in the 4 base ciphers. Now, I just made the connection between Uncle Sam here and Trump, right? Well, check it out. Uncle Sam, Samuel L. Jackson, he's 76 years old right now. And that's interesting because Eagles versus Chiefs is 76, like Donald John Trump is 76 in the same cipher. Don't forget Barack Obama is also 76 in this cipher. 76, like 1776, right? The year America was founded, and he's dressed up like Uncle Sam. Here, let me, Cody, let me know. All right, here. My goodness. I'm having trouble copying and pasting here. There we go. All right, thank you, Cody. I'm sorry that took me so long. So there's another 40 we can add. On top of the fact that it was on the 40th day of the year, and the Eagles scored 40 points, and the 40th pick in the draft had a pick 6 on his birthday, and the first crash was at the Ronald Reagan Airport, the 40th president, and the season for the Eagles started in Brazil, which equals 40, and the Eagles the Eagles came into the game 17-3. Now the Chiefs are 17-3, 173. The 40th prime number when plane crash is 173, and airplane equals 40. Right? Yeah, Gene's mentioning, because we just brought up the 76. Remember Obama's movie Leave the World Behind has all the plane crashes, and they got to take exit 76 to get to the vacation house, and that movie starts with the 76 on the coffee cup, right? So thank you, Gene. All right, let me keep going here. And we talked about this earlier, right? The snakes on a plane connection. Now check this out. More plane connections. So the head coach for the Eagles, his name is Nick Sirianni. So he just won the Super Bowl 126 days from his birthday. And it happened in New Orleans, which equals 126, and plane equals 126. By the way, that's when Kobe died, on 126. Yeah, Cody says this whole win was parallel to WrestleMania 40, where Cody Rhodes beat the Tribal Chief in Philadelphia. Very good. Yeah, Cody's always got the wrestling angle. So anyways, guys, the head coach for the Eagles, he just won the Super Bowl in New Orleans 126 days from his birthday. New Orleans is 126, plane 126. I'm connecting it to all the plane incidents, right? Well, notice Trump's birthday is June 14th, and if you include the end date, well, it was also 126 days from Donald Trump's birthday. Isn't that interesting? That Trump was in New Orleans, which equals 126 days from his birthday. But anyways, plane, New Orleans, they're both 126, and it was 126 days from the Eagles coach's birthday. Now, speaking of Donald Trump and his connection to Super Bowl 59, check it out. Super Bowl 59 is 176, and 148, like Donald J. Trump, is 176 and 148. And on top of that, Trump was at the Super Bowl 17 weeks and 6 days before his birthday. Like Super Bowl 59, when you write it out with Roman numerals, is 176, like Donald J. Trump is 176. And back to the head coach who coached briefly in Philadelphia with Andy Reid. This guy died one day before the Super Bowl. All right. Anyways, Richard Giron, also known as Dick Giron, his birthday October 7th. He died February 8th. So he died 17 weeks and 6 days from his birthday. One day before Super Bowl 59, which equals 176. And you know, we've been connecting a lot of this to Obama, right? Well, the Super Bowl was 176 days before Obama's birthday. And Super Bowl 59 equals 176. Now, I don't know why I didn't have these in the correct order. Probably because I have like 100 slides. But anyways, back to the plane crash that happened in Philadelphia. Number one, remember that was Kobe's hometown, Philadelphia. That was an air ambulance jet, which had the 135 and a 54, like Kobe being Bryant, and Fly Eagles Fly, 135-54. And then the pilot of the airplane that collided with the helicopter, that was Sam Lilly, who had the 135 and a 54, like Kobe being Bryant. And you had multiple collisions, right? You had the collision with the plane and the helicopter. You had the collision of the tug and the aircraft wing. You had the collision of the two planes in Seattle. But notice collision is 135 and 54, like Kobe being Bryant. And the first crash was a collision. And we already talked about this. This was the pilot from Philly. Alan Montoya equals Kobe Bryant in two ciphers. Alan Montoya equals Super Bowl, right? Including the 131, which is the date of the Philly crash, where he was the pilot on 131. They called that crash in Philadelphia major incident, which was 135 and 81, like Kobe being Bryant, 135-81. And remember, it crashed at the Roosevelt Mall, which is named after Theodore Roosevelt. And his birthday, October 27th, So that crash in Philly was 13 weeks and 5 days after Roosevelt's birthday for your 135. Like Kobe being Bryant, like air ambulance jet, like major incident, like fly Eagles fly. They're all 135. That also happened 270 days before Roosevelt's birthday, like air ambulance jet is 270. Not including the end date, that was 96 days after Roosevelt's birthday, like Theodore Roosevelt Jr. is 96. And including the end date, that was 97 days after Roosevelt's birthday, like plane crash is 97. Here, let me look into that comment we just got. Hold on. Here, let me turn this around. Hold on. Howdy. All right, don't go anywhere yet. We got a lot more to talk about. Lots more new information still to show you. But let me just see what I just saw in the chat. Let me see if this is accurate, because if it is, definitely worth mentioning. Yep, you are correct. I think it was El Paculi with this one. All right. I'm surprised I missed that one. It's hard to catch every little thing, but glad we caught it here. So let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so we're connecting all these 135s to Kobe, and you got to stick around to the end, because I got another 135 hidden at the end. But anyways, where do we start with the 135s? Let's see. Right here? Okay. So let's start with the 135s. Again, the word collision is 135. The pilot of the airplane that collided with the helicopter, that was Sam Lilly, which is 135. Like Kobe being Bryant, 135. Like air ambulance jet, 135. Like fly Eagles fly, 135. Like major incident is 135. And then it was also 13 weeks, that plane crash in Philadelphia was 13 weeks, 5 days after Roosevelt's birthday, right? So we have all these 135s, right? Here's your halftime performer. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, 135. And like I said earlier, he mentioned Kobe during the halftime performance. So very good, El Paculi. Great addition. Here's his name. And we're about to talk about him in a few minutes, so that's perfect. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, 135, like Kobe being Bryant. Very good. All right. Where were we? The 135s. Okay. So we talked about the 135, the 270, the 96, the 97. Okay. Still talking about that crash in Philadelphia. That was a Medevac Learjet. Medevac 26, Learjet 26, Bryant 26, all in the same cipher. And remember, this happened near the Roosevelt Mall, named after Theodore Roosevelt Jr., the 26th president. Showed this earlier, Roosevelt, perfect match to Super Bowl, including that 41. Now remember, that plane in Philadelphia was in the air for 41 seconds. We also watched the clip where they said 41, but here's the news article. The jet was only in the air for 41 seconds. See it here, the 41? And I showed you how Super Bowl equaled 41, Kobe Bryant equaled 41, dead at the age of 41, Roosevelt 41. There were 6 people on the plane, 6 people equals 41. Barra Funda was 41. Remember, that's where the plane crashed in Brazil. We had Adon Manzano, 41. That was the reporter who died covering the game. And don't forget, when Kobe scored 81, the rest of the team scored 41. When Kobe scored 60, the rest of the team scored 41. Kobe's last shot was over a player wearing the number 41. When he came off the court for the last time, there were 4.1 seconds left on the clock. And in the film, The Black Mamba, Kobe started with Kanye West. During the film, Kobe threw a basketball time bomb at Kanye West's helicopter. The last you see of the basketball time bomb, the countdown is 4.1, and Kobe died in a helicopter. And he's from Philadelphia. And that crash in Philadelphia, that was a Learjet 55, which crashed in Philadelphia 5 years and 5 days after Kobe died, right after the Eagles scored 55 points when they picked up win number 666. That's because Satan equals 55. The Eagles have a song, the music group The Eagles, they got a song called Old 55. You remember the witness in Philadelphia was Vadim Osipov, 55, and after making a stop in Missouri where the Chiefs play, the little girl was going to end up in Tijuana, Mexico, which equals 55, and then the mayor opened up a shelter in the 5500 block of Langdon Street, which equaled 55. So, I'm telling you that the Super Bowl was all connected to the plane crashes, right? So now, the Chiefs, their all-time record in Super Bowls is now 4-3. Well, how perfect when plane crash equals 43. And remember, the first plane crash that kicked it all off, there were 67 people killed. 64 on the plane, 3 on the helicopter. That makes 67. Like Kansas City equals 67. Like Kobe equals 67. Water was also 67. It crashed in the water, right? And there were 64 on the plane, like Kansas City Chiefs equals 64. And the Chiefs end the season with the 17-3 record, the 173 like plane crash. Yeah, I just got a message that my phone's dying. Hold on, let me plug in. But yeah, remember the Eagles came into the Super Bowl with the 17-3, and the Eagles have played one more game because the Chiefs got the bye week. And anyways, the Chiefs end with the 17-3 record, like plane crash is also 173. Don't you think that's interesting that we've been connecting the Super Bowl to the plane crashes, right? And the Chiefs are now 4-3 in Super Bowls, which is plane crash, 4-3. And they end the season 17-3, which is also plane crash, 173. The 40th prime number, like airplane equals 40. Like the Eagles scored 40 on the 40th day of the year. And the guy with the birthday, number 33, he was the 40th pick in the draft, and they started the season in Brazil. Brazil equals 40, and the first crash was at the Reagan Airport, the 40th president, right? See how it all comes together? Now, I think I figured out why there were 62 points, guys, because airplane crash equals 62. Hello. What's 22 plus 40? It's 62, and it's all about the airplane crashes, guys. How perfect. Airplane crash equals 62. There were 62 points scored in the game. You can't make it up. And Mahomes gave us a little hint when he showed up wearing the Eagles green suit. Isn't that interesting? He lost to the Eagles. Shows up in the Eagles green. So the two guys who had a birthday, Cooper DeJean, number 33, the 40th pick in the draft, and Saquon Barkley. Their birthdays were yesterday. And let's add up their numbers. What's 33 plus 26? Is it 59? Like Super Bowl 59? And back to the connection with American Pie and Obama. Fun fact, the guy who wrote American Pie, his birthday is 59 days from Obama's birthday. Like Chiefs versus Eagles 59, like Revelation equals 59, like the crash, the day the music died, which led to the song American Pie, that crash happened in the year 59. Super Bowl 59 equals 59, like Eagles versus Chiefs, like Revelation, like Black Mamba, that's Kobe Bryant, equals 59. How perfect, right? And speaking of 59, Freemasonry equals 59. And notice how during the halftime show it looks like the Masonic apron, right? Your inverted pyramid there inside the rectangle. And you almost have like your two pillars here, right? Your two pillars, 1, 2, with your Masonic apron there. So there's that. Super Bowl 59, Freemasonry equals 59. Before the game, you had these guys on the black and white checkerboard 4, right? Number 33 had the pick 6. Masonry 33, his last name DeJean, equaled 33. Now back to Dick Duran, who coached with Andy Reid in Philadelphia, and he died one day before the Super Bowl. I just wanted to point out, it also says here, it mentioned this. In Chicago as a head coach, Duran went 35-45, winning Coach of the Year in 2001 after leading the Bears to a 13-3 record before falling to the Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs. Isn't that interesting? Here, let me fix my phone a little bit. When I plugged it in, it just tweaked it a hair. Whatever, I don't even care. Anyways, long story short, he coached in Philadelphia with Andy Reid, right? Philadelphia 65, like Dick Duran, 65. That's his name. He got Coach of the Year, which is 65. And then remember the other 65, which I got in here somewhere. Caesar Superdome was 65 also. Hold on. Here it is. There's the other 65. And remember, that day of the plane crash, the day the music died, remember, there was another plane crash that day that killed 65 people, remember? But yeah, how fitting that Philadelphia would win in Caesar Superdome. When Caesar Superdome is 65, like Philadelphia, right? And Dick Duran, who coached with Philadelphia, and he was Coach of the Year, he died one day before the Super Bowl. And there it is. I had it on the next slide. And also, we talked a lot about the number 41 today, right? Dick Duran died 4 months and 1 day from his birthday, right before the Super Bowl, which equals 41, like Kobe Bryant equals 41, dead at the age of 41, Kobe. And we mentioned this earlier, Dick Duran died 17 weeks, 6 days from his birthday, like Super Bowl 59 is 176. Not sure why that one's fuzzy, but there you go. Richard Manuel Duran. His full name has that 85 and 122 like National Football League. 85, 122. He's dead at the age of 74, killing Masonic and Lucifer, 74. And his last name, Duran, is a perfect match to murder in 3 out of the 4. And the year he won Coach of the Year, he went 13-3. Notice Coach of the Year is 133. So, and then the other point with Dick Duran, his real name is Richard Duran, which equals 666, and the Bears announced his death as the Bears are on 666 wins all time, and his death was announced while the Eagles were still on 666 wins all time, and he helped coach the Eagles with Andy Reid, who's now the coach of the Chiefs, who just lost to the Eagles. All right, now before I get into the connections with the quarterback here, let me see if there's any other key points I might have missed here. So here's your halftime performer, Kendrick Lamar. We're going to talk more about him in a little bit. Just know he is the guy who was wearing the crown of thorns. Total mockery. We talked about this with all the 666 connections. The head coach for the Eagles, Nicholas Sirianni, his name equals number of the beast. Yeah, I think this one slide is the only thing I didn't mention yet. Remember that plane crash in Alaska? It was 6 years, 66 days after the governor became the governor of Alaska. Not only was it 6 years, 66 days, it was also 322 weeks after he became the governor. And check out the gematria. Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs equals 322. All right, let me get back to where we were. So now we're going to talk about the connection between Jalen Hurts and Andy Reid. So coming into the game, Andy Reid had won 301 games, and he lost, right? So you know what that means? That means Andy Reid is still on 301 career wins, and he stays on 301 thanks to Jalen Alexander Hurts, which equals 301. That's the quarterback for the Eagles, right? Well, guess what? The quarterback for the Eagles just won the Super Bowl 180 days before his birthday, which is the gematria of Andrew Walter Reid, 180. That's the coach. He just left on the 301, like Jalen Alexander Hurts, 301. See how it all comes together? And for the confirmation, Andrew Walter Reid lost to Jalen Hurts 38 days before his birthday. And look at that, Jalen Hurts equals 38. Couldn't script it any better. Shout out to Conscious King. He pointed this out. If you remember, they zoomed in on the ring and, just happened to show it there upside down cross there. I think this was the national anthem, I think, is what that was. And then we talked about this with Caesar already. We talked about the suit. I thought this was interesting. During the halftime show, they kind of told you who was going to win, although the game was pretty much over by halftime. But, the Philadelphia Eagle fans, they're known to climb streetlight poles to celebrate victories. And we just had this story from the NFC Championship game. Eagles fan 18 dead after fall from a light pole in the NFC Championship celebration. Did you notice during the halftime that they showed a man on top of a light pole, which is what the Eagles fans do when they win? They climb light poles. So I thought that was interesting. See the man up here on the light pole? So that was pointing to Philadelphia. Now, let me show you how much of a clue Kendrick Lamar was pointing to the Eagles. Number one, Kendrick Lamar has the 87 like Philadelphia Eagles 87. But here's the big one. Kendrick Lamar did halftime 33 weeks and 6 days from his birthday. Philadelphia Eagles equals 336. How perfect. He did halftime 33 weeks and 6 days after his birthday. Philadelphia Eagles 336. How many days before his birthday? It was 128 days before his birthday. Eagles equals 128. By the way, Uncle Sam is also 128, for the record. I'm trying to read what Cody has. Was it really? Hold on. Gonna have to set this down again. All right, don't go anywhere yet. We got more. When was WrestleMania 40? And you'll have to give it all to me again, the whole deal. Let's see. It was a 2-day event. When did who won? It was Cody Rhodes beat the Chief, the tribal chief, right? That's what it was. Was that match on the Sunday, Cody? Oh, that's when Sami Zayn defeated Gunther to win Raw's Intercontinental Championship, ending the latter's record-setting reign at 666 days? Yeah, that day. Total attendance, 201,000. It was 308 after Cody beat Roman. Here. When did Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns? There you go. April 7th, just like Cody said. All right. Now let me see what Cody's saying here. And that's important because it's all about the 40. Remember, it was on the 40th day of the year, the 40 points. Airplane equals 40. So you're saying the tribal chief. Oh, are we back? I think I lost you for a second. Let me know if we're back, guys. And then he says, Cody lost to Roman in his first try, and then won in his second, just like the Eagles took 2 tries. Okay. Roman's reign was a multi-year reign, just like the Chiefs' multi-year. All right, very good. Okay. So one more thing to type in here. Man, I really hope they leave this one up. I put so much work into this video, guys. This is a lot of research here. We're 2 hours into the stream. I'm not even done yet. What am I looking up here? Oh, and Jewish too. Okay. Gotta love the Jewish cipher. Okay, so what Cody is saying, because obviously we're connecting the Super Bowl on the 40th day of the year, where the Eagles scored 40, right? We're connecting that to plane crashes. And Cody is telling me that the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, he was defeated by Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Here, let me show you that. Where was WrestleMania 40? Where was WrestleMania 40? It was at Lincoln Financial Field, exactly where the Eagles play. Okay, so let me turn around my screen, show you what I'm working with here. Okay, so we're connecting this to WrestleMania 40, which was in the Eagles Stadium, right, in Philadelphia. Okay, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. We just had the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl with 40 points on the 40th day of the year. And remember, airplane equals 40, right? So on April 7th, 2024, Cody Rhodes defeated the tribal chief, right? The tribal chief, Roman Reigns, in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40. Then on the 40th day of the year, as they score 40 points, right, the Eagles defeat the Chiefs, like the tribal chief was defeated, right? So they win the Super Bowl 308 days later, and that's the gematria plane crash. And we've been connecting this whole thing to the plane crashes. So That is absolutely perfect, and I'm so glad that Cody is in here with the wrestling angle, because that just adds a whole nother layer. And you put it all together, I mean, my goodness, is this not a totally undeniable video here? So there's a whole nother layer I didn't even get into, but thank you to Cody. So one more time, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, the tribal chief is defeated, and then 308 days later, which is the gematria plane crash, the Eagles from Philadelphia, they score 40 and win on the 40th day of the year. It's like a perfect puzzle. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Oh, didn't you say something about, hold on. Now I gotta set it down again. Hold on. Oh, and Julius Caesar was 42. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is also 128. Like, let's see. Uncle Sam. Remember how big that 128 code is? Jalen Hurts. Here, I'll give you a little rundown on the 128. One sec. All right, so here we go. And guys, I know a lot of you don't have time to watch, a 2-hour live stream, but you got to try to make time for this one. If you came in late, you're coming back and forth, at some point you got to go back and rewatch this whole video, because there's some crazy stuff. I'll try to recap what I can at the end, but it's not going to be much. There's too much to recap. But anyways, long story short here, let me get my screen back in order. The Philadelphia Eagles, they just won the Super Bowl 33 weeks and 6 days after Kendrick Lamar's birthday. Philadelphia Eagles is 336. Now we're talking about the 128. The Eagles won the Super Bowl 128 days before Kendrick Lamar's birthday. 128, which is the gematria of Eagles, 128. All right. Now it's also the gematria of Jalen Hurts, 128, and Uncle Sam, 128. Remember, Uncle Sam was up there at halftime, right? But anyways, 128 days from Kendrick Lamar's birthday, Eagles 128. Now here's some more fun facts for you. President Donald John Trump equals 128. He was at the game. Now, you remember the big bridge collapse right after Obama's movie came out? Remember we had the cargo ship hit the bridge right after the cargo ship lost control in Obama's movie? Anyways, big 128 code with that, all right? Number one, Obama's movie, Leave the World Behind, came out on Netflix on December 8th, 128, okay? The bridge collapse happened at 1:28 a.m. Bridge collapse equals 128. It happened 128 days from Francis Scott Key's birthday. It was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It also happened 128 days from Joe Biden's birthday while he was president. It happened in Maryland, which equals 128. The name of the ship in Obama's movie was White Lion. White Lion equals 128. Power Grid equaled 128. Obama's movie about the power grid going down. And then 128 minutes into Obama's movie, you see a bridge collapse, and the cargo ship White Lion, which equals 128, it loses control and comes ashore with 128 minutes left in the movie. And by the way, President Barack Obama equals 128. And there might even be more 128s with that, but that's just off the top of my head. So anyways, there you go. Philadelphia Eagles, 336. The Eagles win 33 weeks and 6 days after Kendrick Lamar's birthday. Eagles 128, like Jalen Hurts 128. And the Eagles win 128 days before Kendrick Lamar's birthday. Wow. And what was the score at halftime? 24-0, right? Like Kobe wore the number 24. Here, let me unplug this real quick. See if I can straighten up my picture. Whenever you plug in the cord, it kind of twists the phone a little bit. So there we go. That's a little better for y'all. But yeah, another connection to Kobe. Halftime score 24-0 when Kobe wore the number 24. Now, I'm glad. Remember I told you, stick around to the end. I got more on the 135. And thank you again to El Paculi for reminding us the full name of the halftime performer, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, equaled 135. Like Kobe Bean Bryant, 135, right? Well, look at the last two Super Bowls between the Eagles and the Chiefs. The one last night was 62 points, right? 22 plus 40 is 62. And the other one was 73 points. That was 38 to 35. 38 plus 35 is 73, right? So look at the last two scores for the Chiefs and the Eagles Super Bowls. You got 62 and 73. Add that up. What's 62 plus 73? It's 135. Like Kobe Bean Bryant, 135. Like halftime, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, 135. All right, we're almost done here, guys. Almost done. So now the Kansas City, or sorry, the quarterback for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Oh yeah, speaking of blackout, yeah, Cody's mentioning the Eagles posted a while ago on their website, the blackout is commencing, right? But anyways, Mahomes, he's now 3-2 in Super Bowls, which is fitting because Kansas City equals 32, Chiefs equals 32, and he lost to the Eagles, which equals 32. By the way, Crash is also 32. We already talked about this earlier, the inverted pyramid, the Masonic apron there with the two pillars. Here's Uncle Sam throwing up the 666 again. And remember, we connected this to him like 10 days ago when we were talking about snakes on a plane. We had the plane crash on the first day of the snake year, and he's the star of that movie. So that was crazy. And remember, Samuel L. Jackson equals 222. We had all the 222 plane incidents. And then this was during halftime. America divided, right? You got the flag there, split in half like I Pet Goat 2. So clear symbolism there. USA divided. And I think we might have one picture left. This is also during the halftime. During the halftime show, they showed warning, and then they showed game over. So warning, game over. And I think below it said something like wrong way, just for the record. But anyways, very interesting that they would flash warning and then game over after showing America divided, right? And the and that and all of it, right? That's on top of all the gematria. So anyways, guys, we started talking about Kobe, and that's how we got here. When the Eagles, they picked up win 666 all time on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death against Washington, leaving them on 666 wins all time, just days before a helicopter hit an American Eagle from Kansas and Washington, And Kobe died in a helicopter. Helicopter equals 666. Kobe scored his career high in game 666. And the Eagles posted a picture of a helicopter before that game with Washington. And by the way, Kobe was born in Philadelphia. That's where it all began, right there. And I believe that is it. Wow. After 2 hours, we are finally done. Guys, like I said earlier, if you came in late, you definitely have to go back and watch the replay on this one. But anyways, guys, that is it. If anybody would like to support the channel, very much appreciated. This is my full-time job. I am not monetized by YouTube, and quite a bit of work went into this decode. So if anyone wants to support, very much appreciated, and thank you very much. Yeah, I saw that Trump is stopping the production of pennies with Lincoln on them, and Philly plays at Lincoln Financial Field. Yep. Yeah, I heard about that. Okay, this is page 2 for the notes, and not going to go through everything here. I'm just looking for like 2 specific pictures, which is really crazy new information that I want to show you guys. I think I got it in part 1. It's part 2. Man, that was a long one. But yeah, isn't it crazy how it all connects? 62 points, like airplane crash. 62 total. 40, like airplane 40. The Chiefs are now 17-3, like plane crash. They're now 4-3 in Super Bowls, like plane crash. So the Eagles protected Kobe's three-peat. No three-peat for Mahomes. All right, and here, I want to talk just one more time about the 40 and the 222. So here's your guy, the 40th pick in the draft, with the pick 6 on his birthday, Cooper DeJean, number 33, DeJean 33, on his birthday with the pick 6. As the Eagles come into the game with the 666 wins, Cooper DeJean, 666. But let me get to the 40s with him. Here you go. So guys, like, how crazy is this? And we just connected this with Cody and WrestleMania 40. Remember, WrestleMania 40 was in Philadelphia, where the tribal chief was defeated, right? So there's a 40 there. It's on the 40th day of the year. The Eagles score 40, right? And huge connection, all the airplane crashes. Airplane equals 40. We just had the plane crash in Brazil, where the Eagles started the season. Brazil equals 40. The Chiefs are now 17-3. 173, the 40th prime number. And this guy, number 33 with the pick 6 on his birthday, he was the 40th pick in the draft. Remember, Julius Caesar was another 40. I think I got rid of it. But yeah, Caesar's Superdome, named after Julius Caesar, which equals 40. And the first crash that happened, that was at the Ronald Reagan Airport. He's the 40th U.S. president, and that was approaching runway 33. And here's number 33 when Kobe equals 33, and runway equals 33. So anyways, the 40 connection is pretty fire. And don't forget, Mahomes had 33 yards in the first half. So, they also mentioned Andy Reid's 33-year NFL coaching career right at the start of the game. That's pretty Masonic. So, the 40 connection, and then I want to get to the 222 new connections. So, hold on. If you guys came in late, you have to watch this one. So, look. Here, we had all these plane crashes connected to the 222, right? Remember, the very first one, we connected it to Samuel L. Jackson. Isn't that crazy? Because we said, hey, it was on the first day of the snake year, right? A plane on the snake day, like snakes on a plane, right? We're like, hey, Samuel L. Jackson is the star of that movie. Look, he's got the 222, like 5342, the name of the flight, right? And then we had the one in Philadelphia with the big 222 connection. The one in the Philippines with the 222 connection. The one in Seattle with the 222 connection. The one in Houston with the 222. The one in Chicago with the 222. The one in Kazakhstan with the 222. American Pie, the song about a plane crash, 222 days from Obama's birthday. The movie, American Pie, 2 years, 2 months, 2 days before 9/11. All the 222s with COVID. The 222 with the Chiefs. The 222 with Kobe. All the 222s, right, that we've been talking about. You guys know, the videos are still there. They haven't been deleted yet. I have been going on and on and on about the Super Bowl and the plane crashes and the number 222, right? How's this for biggest confirmation of all time? If you add up the 4 scores of the 4 playoff games that the Eagles just played in, if you add up the total score of the wild card, the divisional, the conference championship, and the Super Bowl, you add up those scores, 32, 50, 78, 62, you add them all up, it equals 222, guys. Tell me that ain't scripted, right? And this whole time, I've been connecting the 222 to the plane crashes and the Super Bowl in New Orleans, right? And I didn't know this until last night. Guys, this whole time, I never knew there was a major plane crash in New Orleans on July 9th, 1982 that killed 145 people on the plane, 8 people on the ground. That's a big deal. That was in New Orleans, where the Super Bowl was, on July 9th, 1982. Look at this. The Super Bowl was 2,222 weeks and 2 days after that plane crash in New Orleans. You got the Super Bowl in New Orleans connected to the plane crashes. And it was also, that plane crash was 22 weeks and 2 days from the anniversary of the plane crash, the day the music died. And remember, the plane crash, the day the music died, was 66 years and 6 days before the Super Bowl, where the Eagles came in with 666 wins. Sorry, but I got to go back to the beginning. Here. The plane crash, known as the day the music died, February 3rd, 1959, the same day another plane crash killed 65, like Philadelphia equals 65, and the Super Bowl, where the Eagles came in with 666 wins, the Super Bowl was 66 years and 6 days after that plane crash, or both of them, right? And the day the music died, that led to the song American Pie, which was performed for the first time in Philadelphia. So, anyways, guys, if you came in late, you definitely got to go back, rewatch on fast forward. I mean, we broke it down, man. We broke it down decent, I gotta say. All right, guys, let me turn this thing around. Howdy. So what do you think about that? You think the Super Bowl was scripted? I sure think so. All right, guys. Hey, Samantha. Hey, ZRG. Hey, Gene Spliced. Hey, Claudia. Hey, Mary. Hey, Decoding with Cody. Hey, Meg. Hey, Ruth. Hey, Mike. Thank you guys for all the nice comments and all your help. Thank you, Gene, and El Paculi, Jessica, Rebecca, Cody. Great stuff today, as usual. But yeah, that's what I got. So, does anybody have anything to add that I might have missed? Let me know before I wrap it up. I want to try to keep it as short as I can, even though I've already been on for over 2 hours. Going to try to wrap this up pretty quick. But anyways, guys, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you guys. And do me a favor, please. Share this video everywhere you can. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, please. And please hit the like button. Very much appreciated. But yeah, I think we will leave it there for this one. I wasn't doing one eye symbolism. I had an itchy eyebrow, if you're wondering. Alright, guys. Well, I think we got it all out there. Very long show today. Undeniable information. Clearly the Super Bowl was all connected to the plane crashes and Kobe Bryant. That I can tell you. And then Cody with the good the WrestleMania connection. 308 days after the tribal chief goes down. Plane crash 308. Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Gene. Hey, Travis, good to see you. Thank you, Michelle. But yep, we covered all the 666s, the 222s, the Kobe connection. We broke down halftime, his birthday, Jalen Hurts' birthday. We broke it all down. So make sure you go back and watch. Alright, guys. Well, hey, thank you for being here today. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And thank you guys for being part of the channel. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please do me a favor. Yeah, Snakes on the Plane, Kobe the Black Mamba. Yep. And then you had Trump with the plane on the cake, right? Holding the sword. Sword 29, Trump 29, Potomac 29, the snake 29. And then you had Melania with the Black Mamba dress standing behind him. Looked like a black serpent. But anyways, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day. Oh, and one more thing. We still got like 100 people watching. I'm going to end this in the next couple seconds. As soon as I end the show, please leave a comment after the fact. Anything will do. Thumbs up, good job. It helps the algorithm. So as soon as I end this, please leave a comment on this video. Alright, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Do me a favor. On the way out, hit the like and the share. And as always, keep looking up. We are living in the biblical end of days. Jesus is coming very soon. I can't wait. And I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless.